You're tuned into Inside Lowell. Inside Lowell podcast brought to you in part by Washington Savings Bank, serving the greater Lowell community for over 130 years. Make the switch now to Washington Savings Bank. Reverie 73, Lowell's #1 cannabis shop. Elevate your cannabis experience at Reverie 73. Hafner's, heating and cooling homes and businesses for nearly a century. Hafner's, it kicks. And by Boston North Company, restaurant and retail solutions for your business. That's Boston North. And now, time for another Inside Lowell podcast. Inside Lowell. If Lowell is your home, this is your place.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another Inside Lowell podcast. I am your host, Teddy Panos, coming to you from the Inside Lowell studios here in beautiful, historic downtown Lowell. Very excited today. Going to introduce you to a couple of musical talents that are putting on a wonderful performance that's going to be part of Hispanic Heritage Month here in the Mill City and in our entire region for that matter. I just quickly want to thank all of our sponsors for helping to make this podcast, all of our Inside Lowell podcasts possible. You heard Danielle's booming voice telling you about a bunch of them. We've added a couple to the mix, and we're going to include them in the recording shortly here. But in the meantime, let me tell you about our friends at Unicare, the #1 choice for state or municipal employees insured under the GIC plan at Unicare. Your health comes first. Also want to welcome our friends from Mahoney Oil Company, a true institution here in Greater Lowell and Southern New Hampshire. They've been heating your homes and your families since 1925. Thank you to Mahoney Oil, and thank you to all of our sponsors here at Inside Lowell. Too many of them to read during the podcast, or else we'd be like a city council meeting. We'd waste an hour and a half before we even get to the meat and potatoes. But hey, thank you. Because of you, Inside Lowell has become the top media entity here in the Lowell area. And I say that, I'm fully bragging. I don't care. We're going to let the world know that. But time now to welcome our guests here for this podcast. They are representing, in one way, the Lowell Philharmonic Orchestra. In another way, the Latinx Community Center for Empowerment. And they are joining forces for a concert coming up on October 14th, Saturday, October 14th. It's going to feature classical music. It's going to feature dancing. It's going to feature a lot of fun. Welcome them here into the studios. To the right of your screen here is Bonnie McIsaac. She is the president of the Lowell Philharmonic Orchestra. Good morning, Bonnie.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you here. Diego Leonardo is here as well. He is the executive director of the Latinx Community Center for Empowerment. He's also going to be a special guest conductor at that upcoming show. Diego, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for inviting us.
It's awesome to have you here. By the way, the best shirt that has ever appeared on an Inside Lowell podcast. We may have to retire that award. And it matches very nicely with Bonnie's outfit. Nobody told me to wear my sharp, bright blue.
We should have texted you earlier.
All right, I'll forgive you this time, but you have to come back for a second one and we can coordinate. So before we talk a little bit about the upcoming show titled Bailar con la Orquesta. Did I get that right? I even rolled my arms. See, those 6 years of Spanish are somewhat paying off.
They're very natural.
Just don't ask me what it means, or else my Spanish professors will be all upset. Bonnie, you got exciting new news. Just about a month ago, you announced a brand new musical director at the Lowell Philharmonic Orchestra. You must be pumped.
We are thrilled. We are fortunate and thrilled to have appointed Marshonda Smith as our new music director. She is a force to be reckoned with. Enthusiasm, energy, creativity. She is already boosting our energy levels with the orchestra, and she takes the podium with the holiday concert cycle. So we are working on that. And let me just add, just as a tease, there is an African drum group involved. That is all I'm saying for now. So
okay.
Working with Gordon over at the African Center.
Oh, Gordon Hom.
Yeah.
Awesome. Looking forward to her debut. You said for the holiday season, right?
Yep. Yes.
Awesome. Great. Looking forward to that. And congratulations to you, and best wishes to Thomas Cosiella, the former director who sat in here with you a few months ago, right?
Yes, he's fantastic. He's down at Rhode Island now, Rhode Island College. with the kids, as I would say, having a great time and doing very well.
Well, good, because he's really, a lot of what the Lowell Philharmonic Orchestra does anyway is working with kids. So he's kind of he's been preparing for this his whole life. With
Yes,
you, right?
yes. And his kids are college kids, but still good stuff. Really good stuff.
Awesome. And Diego, tell us a little bit about the Latinx Community Center for Empowerment. What do you do over there?
So we are an organization. I'm gonna cut down the MBA wording and I'm gonna go straight up to what we do. And we're actually a community center that connects with resources, and we also provide English classes and Spanish classes to the community. So pretty much are the point person that contact different organizations that already are doing an excellent job with certain services, but they don't have the Latino target. So that's when we come in place and we try to create those bridges to make the connections, and then those services can be provided to the community.
And how long have you been with the organization? How long has the organization existed?
So I've been with the organization since the inception of it. So it's been in functions for 4 years. That's what the legal document says, but we were been working with this for over 6 years, and that was due to the needs and necessities that we found in the community that we needed to do something.
And what would you say is the biggest need that you have filled in these 4 to 6 years that you've been in existence?
Yeah, so I think we're really proud to say that we are the ones that brought the Portuguese language translations to the city. Nobody was very proponent to bringing Portuguese into the mix because, it's a different language than Spanish, and people tend to confuse that Brazilians might not fit into that category, but they do, and it's a big community. It's growing every single year, so we are the ones that brought that to the city. And then during the pandemic, we were very open to help with any translations, and we're trying to fill the void when it comes to language access from the city and to all the other services.
Okay. Do you cooperate with the university? I know they have a center over there. Frank Sousa, I believe, runs the Center for Portuguese Studies over there, and they put on some events. Have you worked closely with him?
So you're really getting into some of the things we do. We are excited to create a new program that it's called the Lowell Latinx Archive, and that is to create a more robust content for the Latino studies. And that's also a way that we can collect oral stories and bring light to the community members and also the leaders that are proponent in Lowell, and especially those silent leaders that not everybody knows, and then getting to know the stories that go behind how there's a big community of Colombians here in Lowell and what are there for one specific area from Colombia. So that's very interesting to see. And then we are actually working with that in coordination with UMass Lowell, the Center for Lowell History, and the National Historical Park, and some other partners that we have from outside Lowell.
Yeah, I'll tell you, in a very short time, you've kind of ingrained yourself into the community and in partnerships with a lot of organizations, to the point where a few hours from now, when we're recording this, and by the way, we're recording it on Tuesday morning, October 3rd, you're going to appear at Lowell City Hall tonight, and you're part of a reception because you are one of the cultural organizations that have received some ARPA grant funding, and you got an award, right?
Yes, that is correct. And that is to expand the language access. One of the things that we really look forward is to bring more access to the community. So we tend to see that there's people that get blocked with how much they can access because they don't speak English. So we are here providing that key to open those doors and also expand their networks in a way that they can get better jobs, better opportunities, and also increase the socioeconomic growth in the city.
So how did you connect with Bonnie and the Lowell Philharmonic Orchestra on the upcoming event?
Well, that was a very funny story. We're actually going towards the scheduling and programming the festival, Hispanic and Latinx Festival that happened this past weekend on Saturday. And that's when we received a call from Bonnie, and she's like, we have this Spanish orchestra that we're trying to do, and we like to connect. And we just pretty much clicked from the beginning. We connected. She had a couple of questions about what Latinx means. And that was a very important question that I appreciate her asking, because it brings a lot of context. But the way that Latinx is being perceived, it really depends on the ages and generations. Latinx is a new term that it's being embraced by scholars, and it's a scholar term because in Spanish We in Portuguese as well, we tend to use gender pronouns, and this is just a way to integrate everybody into the picture. So it's not necessarily male and female. We're much just bringing everybody together, so without creating that difference.
And Bonnie, why was it important to reach out to Diego when putting on a show called Bailar con la Orquesta?
It was important to us because we could see all these wonderful events happening in the Lowell area for Hispanic Heritage Month. This was our focus when the Lowell Philharmonic started creating and developing our concert for October 14th. It was with the Hispanic Heritage Month in mind. And then I saw what was happening with the festival and called Diego. And we connected over food, of course, because that's what I like to do. And and the rest is history. So that's just how it came about. The concert concept came about in May. I was working with Neil Hampton, who is our guest conductor, and Diego's our guest conductor. Neil was in England at the time premiering his musical. And so he and I were connecting, and we were like, well, how do we develop this? And I said, I really want to do a Hispanic theme, a Hispanic tribute. And then I wrote to him and I said, it's going to be your concert, Neil. You don't have to do this preconceived concept. And he writes back, Bonnie, my mother was Argentinian and I love this. So I was just chills. I still get chills now. So that's how that happened.
And that's part of your mission, though, because you can't really be involved with a Philharmonic Orchestra in Lowell without giving a nod to the different ethnicities and the different cultures. I know in the spring, was it the spring or the summer that you got involved with the Greek community and had a little program there. So this is very important. This is kind of keeping with what you've been doing anyway. The interesting part to me, though, is the bailar part, which means dancing. Now, people think of orchestral music today. You're sitting there and Keith Lockhart's doing his thing, but everyone's sitting in their chair just listening and applauding when the song is over. But in the good old days, people would go dance to big band orchestras. That was kind of a thing. So this is what I'm envisioning here, right? A little bit of everything. As much dance as music.
Well, let me tell you. So when I was working with Neil, the original idea for the concert was different. We were looking at El Dia de los Muertos. And so I have a bunch of stuff in my house for that event, if anybody would like some. However,
they're collector's items.
And music directors, music and conductors, they have visions too. And as Neil was sending me his concept for the concert, I said, Neil, what you have here is a list of dances, Hispanic dances, Latino dances. So I said, why don't we just call it Bailar con la Orquesta? And what's really interesting, if you Google it, a lot of orchestras do this. So this is classical music inspired by Hispanic and Latin dance. So we do have two guest dancers, Francois and Dawn from Salsa in Lowell, and they will be dancing to one piece. But it's mostly classical music. We want to look at Hispanic and Latin composers, as well as the old, I call them the old white guys in Europe who had their own take on Hispanic and Latin themed music. So it's a shorter concert because the second half will feature a Latin jazz trio from Berkeley, and we are having the food catered. Okay.
So is this your polite way of telling me I have to sit my butt down in the chair? I can't just get up and move around. I promise I'll sit in the back so my big fat butt doesn't block anybody's view.
You're so funny. There's plenty of room to dance at Fusion. I mean, there is space to be sure. This is our first concert of the new season, 2023-2024 season. It is also our first concert of the 120th ish season of the LPO. People don't realize we've been around since 1903. So this is very exciting to first of all, I grew up in a Portuguese neighborhood, so this is like coming home in a way, musically, in a way. So this is going to be an exciting thing. And to your point, yes, this is what we're about. We're about reaching out and bringing the city together.
Yeah, before we have a little fun with Diego here and find out how he plans on conducting what song. Your guest conductor, he's very well known. This is kind of a big deal to be able to land him, right?
Neil Hampton. Here's a good thing about Neil. Here's a nugget. He was the music director of the Lowell Philharmonic Orchestra 30 years ago. And we have players who were with him when he was there. Now he's the music director at Brandeis Wellesley Orchestra. He's also assistant conductor at the Plymouth Symphony. And he's been premiering his musical around the country and now around the world to great success. So yeah, it was a big deal for me to have him accept our invitation.
I was going to say, he's kind of known internationally at this point, right? But started his roots right here 30 years ago.
Can you imagine?
With the Lowell Philharmonic.
Yes,
awesome.
sir.
And yet he didn't get the photo. In the Inside Lowell story about this concert, the photo went to this guy over here.
That is correct.
Diego. So how did you become a conductor? What kind of training have you undertaken, Diego?
I've been growing up with a lot of Disney movies. That's how I get my conducting skills.
I love it.
Yes.
I want you to watch the Seinfeld episode with the maestro if you need any tips.
Will do.
So you keep your pants well creased and folded. So what song are you going to conduct? Did you get to pick your own song, or did they assign one to you?
They assigned a song to me. It's going to be a march, and this is a very exciting song because it really shows and showcases the artistry that goes around Latin America, and also showing all the beautiful sounds that creates classical music its own take. So we're really excited to be there, and I'm really looking forward to get to that piece. And I feel chills when I started listening to it. When Bonnie sent me the music, I was like, wow, this is exciting.
So what other songs are on the dock? Will the audience know these songs?
Some of them they will. For example, Toreador from Carmen. And then there's other pieces. We will have, of course, No One Talks About Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno from Encanto, and Bernstein's West Side Story, a medley. But then we have other pieces that we want to highlight as well. We have a Cubano composer. We have different composers. I wish I knew them better. But we also have Rimsky-Korsakov's Capriccio Espagnol, which everybody we talk to, when I say we, it's probably just me, talk to you about this concert. They say, well, are you going to do Capriccio Espagnol? And I'm like, darn straight we are. We're doing it. It's on the agenda. So it's a variety, and it's an opportunity for Neil to, with authenticity, express what these pieces are about, why he chose these pieces, which he did deliberately, I can't even say the word, with deliberation. And so it's going to be a fantastic concert. That's all I can tell you.
How many different musicians will be on stage performing for their guest conductor and the guest conductor? How many different instruments?
Oh, my goodness. Let me just say this about that. We haven't had such a full orchestra in years. It's probably closer to 60 musicians.
Wow.
Yes, and tonight our harpist comes. So if anybody wants to help me bring the harp in, that would be great. Our harpist comes tonight, and full brass section, really exciting. We have an all-female percussion section. So I think it's just going to be. And our harpist, I just have to share this. I was speaking to her. Her name is Emilia Pepin. And I was talking to her about the pieces. And she said, oh, yes, I played these pieces before. And she said, I love this program. And I said, why? She goes, I'm half Mexican. My mother was Mexican. And it was just so moving. You know, I was like, great, this is where you need to be.
and you mentioned tonight the harpist will be joining you.
For rehearsal.
As I said, we're filming this on Tuesday, October 3rd.
I apologize.
Which anyone who follows the Lowell Philharmonic Orchestra on social media or Inside Lowell knows that Tuesday night is rehearsal night. Yeah. You've thrown in a Monday, too, along the way. This is a big show, isn't it?
Last week was a Monday night, and too bad I was unable to go, but the photos were fantastic, so I shared them online. You know,
how long have you been preparing for this particular show? How many months, weeks have you been rehearsing?
before starting actual rehearsals, Neil and I started back in May.
Wow.
It takes a while and to develop a theme because you never really know where the theme's going to go. As I said, we started with El Dia de los Muertos and we ended up dancing. So it is fantastic, you know.
The dead can dance too, right?
Yeah.
So tickets, how can folks get to this show? It is Saturday, October 14th,
Yes.
Fusion Church, beautiful.
Yeah,
Beautiful venue.
Beautiful venue. Have you been? You must come if you haven't. The tickets are right now. You first of all, please go online and get your tickets. They will run out. We're only going to have a very limited amount of tickets available at the door. Tickets are $25 for adults, $15 for seniors, and for teenagers ages 11 through 17. Kids 10 and under are free, but must be accompanied by an adult. However,
Yeah, you've got a special offer, right?
we have, yes. We do have a code, a discount code, which is all in capital letters, uppercase letters, LTNX. And that will give adults $5 off of their tickets. This is a big deal because it's a concert with a social. And I'm going to ink the deal today, knock on wood, for our caterer. But just know this, the caterer is fantastic. And actually, Diego recommended him.
Okay, excellent.
Or my caterers for the wedding. So.
Oh, yeah, so we know it's going to be great.
See, we've already been networking and sharing resources.
Love it. So you mentioned go to the website to get your
Yes.
tickets. What is the website to purchase the tickets and also to learn more about the Lowell Philharmonic Orchestra?
Thank you. It is lowellphilharmonic.org. And that's a long word, but go on our Facebook page. There's always a place to click on it, lowellphilharmonic.org. We also have QR codes, but again,
All right.
they're on our Facebook page.
Perfect. And Diego, how do folks learn more about the Latinx Community Center for Empowerment?
Yeah, definitely. They can look us up on our website. It's latinxcenter.org, or on our social media at Latinx Center. We are all in different medias, Twitter, Instagram, well, X now, not Twitter, and Facebook. So at Latinx Center.
All right.
Yes.
Looking forward to this show. Bonnie, Diego, thank you so much for joining us here this morning at Inside Lowell, and looking forward to it. It's a great take. I love what you're doing out there in the community.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having us.
A
Thank
pleasure is all ours. And thank all of you for joining us as well inside Lowell. As we like to say, if Lowell is your home, this is your place. Till next time, stay safe, everybody.